By all appearances, this is not a bad time to be a Republican in America. The party controls more than half of the country's legislatures and governorships. Political analysts generally think the GOP has a good shot at holding the U.S. House and taking over the Senate in this fall's elections, and it's certainly conceivable a Republican could win the presidency in 2016. So what would possess Yahoo News and other outlets to publish this headline?
Is the Republican Party in danger of dying out? That's the question several news outlets asked a couple months ago, even though the party, at least when it comes to electoral success, looks pretty healthy right now.
Do you think the Republican Party is in trouble long term?
Yes, because they have an unrealistic view of things that affect marginalized America.
A statement like that, especially from a 23-year-old like Renisha, should get the attention of the GOP. Here's why.
Republicans have a lot of demographic issues right now.
They certainly do, if you believe this year's Pew Research study on adult millennials, which includes people who fall into the age range of 18 to 33 in 2014. The study finds that though half of millennials consider themselves political independents, they tend to vote heavily Democratic. Take the 2008 and 2012 presidential elections, for example. Among this generation, 66% voted for Barack Obama in 2008 and 60% supported his re-election in 2012. Also, while half of millennials say they have a favorable impression of the Democratic Party, only 40% say they have a positive impression of the Republicans.
I would say I'm more Democrat.
Because?
It's more liberal, and I think that's kind of what the mindset is of a lot of college students.
Bradley, a 21-year-old at IPFW, has sized up his generation pretty accurately, especially when it comes to social issues. 68% of millennials in the Pew survey support same-sex marriage, and 69% say marijuana should be legalized.
All the political parties have to keep up with those cultural shifts.
Which is why Indiana Democratic Chairman John Zody thinks the Republican Party faces a long-term challenge. Even millennials who are Republicans, like Pete Seat, a former spokesman in George W. Bush's White House, admit there could be problems ahead for the GOP.
The candidates who immediately attract some attention from millennials are those who have stances on marijuana that are in line with millennials, or on social issues that are in line with millennials. Social issues are a gateway, and until that changes, it's going to be very difficult for a lot of millennials to open their ears or their wallets or vote for Republicans because they just can't get past that.
The Democrats, have a little bit of wind at their back because they've been sort of on the right side of the millennial issues.
The two states that have legalized marijuana, Colorado and Washington, do have legislatures and governorships controlled by Democrats. But that certainly doesn't mean Democrats across the country are united on this issue. In fact, when I asked about possibly legalizing pot someday here in Indiana, our state's Democratic chair didn't want to touch the question with a 10-foot pole.
These are cultural shifts that we're starting to see on certain issues that I think we'll continue to see some change. Where that's going to go here in Indiana, I don't know.
And when it comes to gay marriage, yes, Democrats are generally seen as the more open or supportive party, but Indiana's Republican chairman says that isn't necessarily a view held exclusively by Democrats either.
We are not just a single focus on some of those issues. There is a welcome opportunity for diversity of thought.
And Republicans also face another challenge, America's growing racial diversity. By 2043, the Census Bureau predicts the U.S. will be majority non-white, and Republicans have big problems among minority groups right now. We'll look into that tonight on Nightcast at 11, and tomorrow at 6 and 11, what the party can do to garner millennials' support and remain a force in the future.